Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to our beloved lecturer, Madam Wan Mazwati binti Wan Yusuf. Today, we will talk the impacts of MCO on education using the six thinking hat tools. Before we go further, let's introduce with my group members. My name is Siti Fatihah Shafee as a first presenter.
Hi, Ummi Haniliyana Abd Halim as a second presenter.
Hi, I am Nurjannah Rosman as the last presenter.
Okay, let's move to the main topic in our presentation, which is what is the meaning of MCO? MCO is a short form for the Movement Control Order that refers to the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Order 2020, which was issued by Malaysian Prime Minister Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on 18 March 2020. The MCO is held to counter COVID-19 pandemic in order to increase the social distancing and slow down the transmission rate of the virus. During this period, people need to wear the face mask, always put the hand sanitizer, and must keep the social distancing 1 meter when they want to talk or meet other people. The MCO implements a series of precautionary measures to curb further outbreaks of COVID-19 in the country, including shutting down all the government and private premises except for those who involve in essential service and some sectors with government permissions. Besides, the travel was banning, especially to all foreigners that want to enter in Malaysia, and also to the Malaysians that want to leave the country. On the other hand, there are some restriction of movement within the country, which is no public gathering, including religious meeting, recreational activities, and social gatherings are permitted through this period. The COVID-19 also affected the postponement of public examination this year, especially the Malaysian Education Certificate SPM for Form 5 and Malaysian Higher School Certificate STPM for Form 6 pupils. Malaysia is well prepared in terms of providing the good quality of education needs to its citizens during health crisis. As we know, the MCO was extended 3 times for another 2 week period until 12 May 2020. On 13 May, Malaysia moved into the Conditional Movement Control Order MCO. On 8 June until 31 August, Malaysia moved into the Recovery Movement Control Order RMCO, which is in this period people can do their duty as usual but must follow the standard operation procedure SOP from the government. Moving to the next slide, let's explore about the positive impacts of MCO on education. First, the MCO helps students teachers empowering their skills through online learning. As we know that technology is the most important things nowadays. Therefore, when the teachers need to use online learning as their learning and teaching medium, they got to know the applications or the tools that was produced in terms of education. Before this, they didn't expose with the Google meetings, Google Classroom, and so on, so that they will be more knowledgeable about the technology and the that very useful to help them on learning and teaching. Second, the M student university students saving their expenses by staying at home while learning. In this way, they didn't need to pay the university fees as usual. This is the great news to the underprivileged student. Lastly, can control their emotions and feelings because they didn't need to feel homesick. Before this, when they in campus, there are students who feel very homesick to their family at the village and didn't focus in their studies. Therefore, some of the students assume that MCO was give them a great opportunity to learn beside their beloved family at home. Okay, moving negative impact of MCO on education, my friends Ummi Haniliyana will brief it.
Next, we will proceed to the black thinking hat. As we know, black hat is about the negative impact on something. E-learning constitutes the main form of learning for students and teachers in Malaysia during this MCO period. So, among the negative impacts of this MCO on education focused on e-learning are: firstly, it's not effective for the students, especially for school students. Study at home is one of the factors that students will easy to lose focus and distract. E-learning is just one way learning only. The students in their level still need the guidance from teachers directly, like face-to-face class. It will easy them in understanding well. So this e-learning will burden and difficult for them, especially for the students who will face the big examination such as UPSR, SPM, and so on. Besides, the next negative impact is lack of fairness in education. As we can see, e-learning requires students to have strong internet connection to conduct the e-learning. Unfortunately, for the students that live in rural areas, it will be difficult for them to join the e-learning according to the internet connection problem in their areas. So, they will not have the chance to get the learning as same as the other students. Last but not least, the negative impact of MCO on education is increasing the depression of the students. Most of the lecturers had to increase the assessment to cover many things. Because of that, the students feel burdened and more depressed because of this assessment from all the subjects. Plus, the due date also close to each other. Hence, it will very difficult for them because they need to settle everything in one time. Now, let's move on to the red thinking hat. Red hat represent the emotion based on the situation. Hence, the emotion that affect from the education during this MCO period is stressful. On the other hand, MCO is the one of the factor that avoid the students to meet friends. It is difficult for them to do everything alone, such as study and revise for examination by themselves, especially for the weak students that need the support from their other friends. Lastly, it is very stressful due to the increasing assessment day by day. The student will feel burdened and more stressful to settle all the assessment in one time. In addition, they did not have enough time for themselves and also lack time to spend with their beloved friends. That's all from me. So we will move on to the next thinking head by my friend Jannah.
Okay, let's move on to the green thinking hat. Green thinking hat is actually focused on ideas how to cope with this situation. Actually, I have three suggestions how to cope with this situation. Firstly is the limitation of the time of virtual learning and provide the games or simple quizzes at the end of the classes. Actually, I would like to recommend that the virtual learning process is not more than 30 minutes because student only focus for 30 minutes for school student and 40 minutes to 45 minutes for tertiary students. In addition, during this ERTL learning, there is actually a lot of distraction at house, such as younger siblings that are crying or playing around, and also the surrounding are a bit not suitable for learning. And in term of the games at the end of the classes is actually helping students to learn in more effective way, and also student can prepare for the upcoming exams, and also the quizzes and the games uh, can make teachers discover what they need to be they need to uh, discuss in detail with their student about what they understand and what they don't understand. Moving on to the second point is the limitation of student in one session, such as 15 to 20 students at one session. This is to help students to have conversation or discussion with their teachers, because when there is a lot of students in one session, the student might be shy or hesitate to ask questions to their teachers. So the best teacher is the teacher who engage with their students in discussions, so um, they know what the student did the student understand or not what the topic is. And the third point is the government should provide the free cyber cafe for students who live in rural area. This is to help students to easily access internet to join their virtual learning sessions. Uh, this cyber cafe is actually require a lot of money for government to provide it, and it may be impossible in our situation right now, in our country situation right now, or maybe it take a lot of times to make it real. And move on to the blue hat. Blue hat is actually the process and also the conclusion of the previous thinking skills. Based on what we have discussed in the previous thinking hat, we want to implement the first suggestion in the green thinking hat, which is the limitation of the time during the virtual learning and provide the games at the end of the sessions. As I said before, the limitation is really crucial because students can focus after 40 minutes from 40 minutes of the learning. So uh, teachers or lecturers should provide just around 30 to 40 minutes the sessions, and also provide the games or quizzes at the end of the classes that help students to grasp with the topic while stimulating learning interest, and also discover what should they do if they don't understand a topic. So this situation is help both teacher and students in cover all the things in that topic. So in conclusions, during this MCO and whatnot, we can run away from online learning. Even we try to open the school again, but it has a lot of difficulties. So by hook or by crook, we need to overcome this situation by making the online learning more fun and is interesting to students to learn. And this is also helping students in betterment for their studies. And we should not see the downside from this online learning. Instead, we should see the positive side, the upside of this online learning, which is actually helping students and teachers in a lot of ways, such as the skills of using technologies and whatnot. And that's all from us. Thank you for listening.